So this is the second video for the lesson called rates, and our focus is going to be simplifying complex fractions. And this is what a complex fraction looks like. This is an example of a complex fraction where you have a fraction in the numerator and a fraction in the denominator, and we're going to talk about how to deal with those. But real quick, the reason we're doing this is because rates are easier to apply when they have a denominator of 1. For example, this 5 miles per hour, this portion right here is the rate, miles per hour. And this is miles per 1 hour, however many miles it says, so 5 in this case, per 1 hour. So because the denominator over here is 1, it's easier for us to understand, it's easier for us to compute with. So that's our goal, is to get denominators to 1. Okay, so here's a rate. We're going to come back and do this at the end, because first I just want to talk about the math of how to do a fraction with fractions. So this is like a fraction with fractions. First, it's important to remember that this means 2/3 divided by 1/2. And so you could rewrite it like this, 2/3 divided by 1/2. So this is the first method you can do to simplify these complex fractions, is to write it as the division problem it is, and then rewrite it as multiplication, like we went over earlier in the year, where you multiply by the reciprocal. And then once we're here, you just multiply straight across. There's nothing that we can simplify beyond this, so we just go 2 times 2 is 4 for our numerator, and then 3 times 1 is 3 for our denominator. Then we have to ask ourselves, is this fraction simplified? Well, it's improper, so we can convert that to a mixed number. So that's one way to do it. I want to do the same problem in a slightly different way. This is the same problem. It's written as a complex fraction, 2/3 divided by 1/2. But in this case, if we multiply the numerator and the denominator by the reciprocal of the denominator, we end up with 1 in the denominator. That was a mouthful. What I mean is, if you look at the denominator as 1/2, multiply the numerator and denominator by the reciprocal of this. And watch what happens. When I multiply these two fractions together, everything cancels out to 1. Okay, so I know all of this stuff right here is 1. So I'm really just left with whatever happens up here. 2 times 2 is 4, and 3 times 1 is 3. So now I've still got kind of a weird thing going on, though, because I've got 4/3 divided by 1. But we know that any number divided by 1 is that number. So we end up with 4/3. And then furthermore, we can simplify that to 1 and 1/3. So both methods get us to the right answer. Personally, I kind of like this method, but I know from experience that most 7th graders don't like this method. So when you see something written as a complex fraction like this, it's okay just to rewrite it as a division of fractions. So to summarize, when you see 2/3 divided by 1/2, you can write that as 2/3 divided by 1/2, and then just solve it. And when you solve it, you automatically get a denominator of 1, or in other words, you end up with just a fraction or a mixed number, and it simplifies it down. Let's go back real quick before this video is over and just go over this real quick. So this is 1/2 miles per 1/4 hour. So one of the methods I've shown you, you could rewrite this as 1/2 divided by 1/4. Flip and multiply, or I think it's, what was the trick we came up with? I think we said keep, change, or keep, change, flip. That's what it was. So keep, change the sign, flip the fraction. And then when you multiply, of course, you can simplify before you multiply across. So we end up with 2/1 or 2. Okay, so that's one way. The other way you could do this is you could just multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the reciprocal. Which, by the way, just so you guys know, mathematically, this right here is exactly the same thing as this, but it's just another way to look at it. And so this all cancels out to 1, so 1 hour. And this gets us the 2 miles. So this is 2 miles per 1 hour, or 2 miles per hour. So you could look at this in a lot of different ways. Most of you, I'm guessing, are going to like this method the best. It's up to you. Good luck. Have fun. I hope this made sense.